Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros podcast. We're here to start it off and talk about the past All-Star weekend. So, guys, I know you guys were tuned in. What did you guys think about this past All-Star event we saw? I thought it was a pretty good event myself. KJ, what did you think, man? I know you were watching, KJ.
Well, I watched everything, or pretty much everything. I don't know. The All Star Weekend has kind of lost its flair to me. It used to be something like you even had rappers talking about it in songs about All Star Weekend, and it just seems like nobody really watches it anymore. Um, the ratings have gone down throughout the years. I've seen people complain and say that we should just eliminate the dunk contest because every dunk's been done, or like you get all the high flyers like Zion and Ja. They don't want to do it. Um, for me personally, I saw something where someone said that All Star Weekend they should just get rid of the 3 point line, or for the All Star game, get rid of the 3 point line, and it would make it more entertaining in terms of like if you watch the All Star game, they said that 94% of shots were either dunks, layups, or threes. There was and no defense is being played because there was something of the sorts of back when the All Star game happened, there was big men in the paint and it forced you to shoot or you had to do something fancy near the rim. Whereas now everybody's on the 3 point line, so you either shoot a open or shoot a three or you just drive to the lane and there's nobody in the paint covering you. Um, in terms of the dunk contest, I don't. Mac McClung did a good job. He did a I've seen him dunk since high school, but they really had to pull someone out of the G League who could actually dunk to compete with these other NBA players. I mean, Trey Murphy was pretty good, but other than that, the other two sucked. Um, I've seen people say, let's put the 3 point contest as the main event, and I think that's what we should do at this point because the dunk contest is just, I mean, Josh should be in the dunk contest. Anthony Edwards should be in the dunk contest, but there's no incentive for them. The only there there's just no incentive for anybody to do any of these events.
I feel like they should make it a team. Like they've been saying, make it a team concept on the dunk contest.
But they
Have
tried that. They tried it and it didn't work. Remember that one year they
they
did
haven't
it?
tried.
Yeah, they did. I
Yeah,
think it
they
was
did
with
it.
like
No, they just done it. All they've done it in is in the passing and the skills challenge, the dribbling skills. They haven't done it for the dunk contest. The dunk
I
contest.
remember when Ben McLemore jumped over Shaq in the throne. They had that was a team dunk contest.
I don't know. You're probably thinking that it was supposed to be a team, but it wasn't. And they always do it individual. All those players are all individual. They have them as they use player props to bring up like other teammates to be there, but they don't make it a
Right.
team. I feel like they have to make it a team effort. Like you get your three best dunkers from four teams in the league that you think or these guys are gonna be the and make it a team concept. Or like because you even say like when you say about Zion and Ja, yeah, the reason they don't want to do it is because they don't want to get hurt.
Uh,
Come on, these
to
guys getting hurt doing
so
this.
so I
But
looked it
hold
up
on.
before you go, Amos. I just want to say one thing. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It's an article and it says John Wall explaining the Team Freestyle 2014 dunk contest when him,
Right.
Terrence Ross, and PG won. So it was 2014 when they did a team style and nobody liked it.
Yeah, it was really stupid, but I thought it was like it was two or three members of the team, and they each got to dunk, and then the highest dunk went into the final.
And then they had
Wasn't it each one?
and then it was the individual from there, right? After.
Right, and then it was individuals there. I think they had 2 rounds of those guys dunk too, and so I do remember that. I do remember that, KJ. It was just one of those things where they were trying to make it more interesting, which it really wasn't because it actually went longer than it normally does too.
Yeah, they had Terrence Ross, John Wall, PG, Damian Lillard, um, Ben McLemore.
That's
I'm trying
right.
to.
It was Dame. That's right.
It was John Wall won it, but I'm trying to see all the people
Yeah.
that were in it. But yeah, they tried doing that, and it looked stupid. But I know what you mean, Efren. They need to do something to make it fun again.
Yeah, like I
Well,
said, you don't have the sorry. but you don't have like the old school rivalries like when you had Dominic Wilkins against Michael Jordan, when you had Muggsy Bogues. Where are those guys at in the league right now that we could say, man, these guys don't look, but they're there, you know. I think everybody took it as Vinsanity, you know.
And what it's the point, Efren, what's the last rivalry you'd say about the dunk contest? Who would be the last two you'd say that was most recent?
Aaron Gordon and
Levine.
they robbed Aaron Gordon.
Levine.
I robbed them, but
Levine. Yeah, for sure. It would be those two. And so to your point, it's you don't have those two guys that you're hyping it up. Those aren't, especially Aaron Gordon, those aren't necessarily arguably stars. So the better the player is, the more hyped up it will be. But the big thing is just the incentive. I think particularly this year, though, it was interesting because you had guys who knew that they had the spotlight on them, which normally they wouldn't. And it was kind of a situation that you could actually show your skills. And so it was kind of good to see, a D-leaguer go out there, a guy who's on a two-way contract, go out there and kind of just show out. And, it's crazy for being pretty small, a smaller guard. Not the smallest guard. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". Just to see his athleticism, it was wild. And a lot of these stars out there don't want to take the chance and fail on a big stage, unfortunately. But you have a guy like that who's in the G League, you got nothing to lose.
Well, and I know Efren's gonna love me saying this, but I've heard a lot of people say that LeBron kind of ruined the dunk contest because he won't do it. And because he won't do it, because he doesn't want to affect when in his early career, he didn't want to affect his shoe sales and all that stuff. It's let all these other high flyers like Ja, who just got a shoe deal, doesn't want to lose to somebody like Mac McClung because then it affects their endorsements and their sales, their merchandise, which I think is stupid, but that's just how, that's how they want to make their money.
And in that aspect, I understand what you're saying about LeBron, and I know he's looking out for himself in that situation about the shoe deal or whatever, but I don't even think it was just that. I believe when you're an upcoming star, Kobe did the dunk contest. Jordan did the dunk contest. As long as you win it once, cool, you're done. You don't have to worry about anything. But of course, like I said, you guys have said it, the NBA has changed a lot. Of course, we got other players trying to come up.
It's soft.
Very soft. But like I tell people, I go, like the dunk contest and everything, when I was a younger kid, man, the dunk contest coming out. Oh, the 3-point contest. Let's be honest. If you guys were on the court and you guys were with your friends, hey, let's have a 3-point contest. Let's see who can make the most threes. Or hey, let's see who can pony. When you used to play those type of games, let's make it more interesting for them to do that. But the thing is, the NBA also is not making it. How do I say? They're not trying for All-Star Week. It's like the NFL.
Yeah, they're not promoting it.
Yeah, they're not.
Can I tell you guys? I think for me personally, I know some guys will argue the year Aaron Gordon and Levine went at it, and I get it. That's fair. But to me, the year that really killed it, and I love this guy. But man, if you guys remember the year Nate Robinson had how many attempts? 10?
Right.
Just over and over and over and over.
I was thinking the same thing. Wasn't that the year that Howard won it?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because so Dwight Howard ran it in 2008, and then Nate Robinson won it the next 2 years, and then we had the Griffin Kia over the car dunk.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So and then that's the thing. Let's also be real too. Size has always went against people too. So the smaller you are, it's always it looks a lot cooler. But Efren, I'll just say real quick. Efren, to your point though, it's unfortunate that for me, dunk contest that used to be so exciting. It's hard for me to sit down and actually watch a full event, especially with the commercials, with them panning the cameras out. To me nowadays, the shooting, the 3-point contest is more exciting, and it's never been super exciting, but you do see the best shooters out there. I feel like a lot of shooters don't mind getting it loose.
I will say that it was a good thing they changed it after last year. Jalen Green did his little NFT dunk where he missed 7 dunks in a row. They changed it this year to
right.
You only get 3 dunk attempts in your minute and a half, and if you don't get a third one done by that minute and a half, you get one last attempt.
Yeah.
But you were saying something, Alan. Oh, go ahead, Efren.
What I was going to say is, and more point to the whole All-Star weekend. Just like you were saying about the All-Star game, It's the same thing. Like, honestly, what do you guys honestly watch the All-Star game for? I remember at least they would play defense in the fourth quarter because they had uh, an incentive of, oh, I gotta stop. We gotta stop these guys to make so much money. I I feel like they should do what baseball does in their All Star game. The winner gets home court advantage, or that's what baseball does. The winner of the All Star game gets the home field advantage in the World Series. So you have something to play for. That's the way I look at it. But then you can't do that either because the teams that the way they're doing the drafts now you don't even have a real draft. You got like if we're just playing a regular pickup game now. Oh yeah, I want to pick, and then you got guys that are picking up nothing but guards on one team, and then you have nothing but big men on another. So to me, the NBA All-Star game has gone.
It's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the same. I hope it changes, but
They need
even
to
with
bring back the jerseys, like the team jerseys.
but then also
Yeah.
I like that
But I-
visually. Because you knew what team was represented. That's actually a good point, KJ. To me, it was three things I looked forward to. Efren's point that the best part was the fourth quarter. You knew at the fourth quarter it got really good, especially when Kobe was around. It got really intense in the fourth quarter. That was the best part. The second best part was watching your guys, being able to see your best players on your team play with the best stars and seeing how they compare, seeing if they can make shots against the best stars. And then third was really just seeing if who the head coach was going to play the most, who he would sit the most.
That's another thing. It's like the coach has like it's just a acknowledgement that you're the best coach in your conference. The coach doesn't do nothing but give everybody equal time nowadays.
but do you see
Now,
what the coach from from Denver said at the end of the game?
Yeah, he said it's like a waste of time or something.
Yeah, he even said, and he's
but if you
like,
guys remember, Popovich can I just say something? Popovich used to be known as just play. Remember, Popovich used to play mind games. Remember, he would play like the Lakers guys a lot of minutes. He'd want to play them up.
yeah, because he would use it because he would know they would be exhausted by the time they came back and they had to rest.
Yeah.
And Kobe's like, I'll play. Hell yeah, I'm not saying no. Let me out there, coach.
But like I said, but to me, now the All-Star game, or to all of us, I hope even let's be honest, even if Zion did come back and do a dunk contest, they're only gonna do one, and then after that, we don't know who else is gonna do it. It's gonna go back to being so. To me, like I said, All-Star weekend, yeah, it's good. I like the 3-point contest. I get excited for that. Dame time, congratulations to Dame time. But everything else, I think it's just like, I'm done with the All-Star weekend for NBA for right now.
Alan, you said something to me the other earlier today about how you wish they would just bring like professional dunkers instead of having the NBA players do it.
Yeah, bring some of these kids out here that are doing these events outside of the NBA that are going to be, bring some creativity, bring some excitement to the game. I mean, I don't know if you've ever watched it, I haven't seen it on television in quite a while, but they used to have that dunk league, and they would travel around the country and they'd have events, and they would rank these guys as far as one through whatever. And then they would go at it, and I mean, it was just crazy creativity. But
to that point, Alan, like when you initially said that, my first thought was, well, you'd have nothing but no names, and so it'd be kind of hard for people to really invest in and get into it. But I do think if they were elite dunkers the following year, the years to come, right? If they end up building up and end up becoming somebody, you now know them, then it gets exciting the following year, the year after, because now you're like, man, I didn't necessarily know this guy the first year. Now you end up creating these rivalries with the best dunkers in the world. So I could actually get on with that idea.
Or just do like 4 NBA players versus 4 random professional dunkers, and then have them do dunks against each other.
But then to that point, KJ, how many NBA players are going to say, "Well, hold on, timeout"? Maybe a guy at the would do it, but if you're a star, perhaps you're really going to want to get. Are you going to want to lose to someone not in the NBA?
How about sorry for cutting you off, but how about you get 4 D leaguers, the G League, for the G League, players that are in the G League and make them go against the nobodies or whatever you guys want to call them. Gives opportunity to let the players from the G League to, show their uh, their dribbling skills, their basketball skills.
No, I somewhat agree with what you said, Amos, and I like that. I like the G League thing would probably be fairly interesting because I think those guys are going to be looking for contracts. But I mean, think about what happened this past weekend. That kid Mac McClung just electrified that arena, and
Yes.
nobody knew him. Nobody knew him. I mean, we probably had heard a little bit about him, and some of us might have even seen him, but he was a nobody, and he set that arena on fire.
The funny thing is
And
that is true. That is
so I
true.
think that I don't think that because, and this is what I was going to say to start off with, is that All-Star Weekend has become a social media event. It's all about the money now. It's all about the exposure. It's not about the game. It's not about the events that take place in the 2 days prior to the game. It's about who's there, who you can get snapped up with, who is doing what as far as what they're wearing, what where they're going and stuff like that. It's not about the actual event anymore. So I think that
Because wasn't last
that
year they had a bunch of TikTok stars or something?
yeah,
The year
yeah,
before
they
they just
played in
had
the
NBA players doing TikToks.
right, right. So I think that as far as the dunk contest goes, that would actually probably bring a little more excitement to the game, to that part of the weekend. But I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't really watched an All-Star game in probably, I'm gonna say since the '90s, since the late '90s. To be
I feel
honest with
like
you,
they should
you
take
know,
they should sorry. I feel like they should take what they do in other All Star games, like what they do in the NHL, what they do in baseball.
yeah, yeah, the
Those
NHL is exciting as heck. And I kind of like the concept that they brought forward this year with the playing it, winning the quarters and having to score so many points to end the game. That was actually kind of interesting.
They did
But
that.
like KJ was
yeah, for
saying, they don't play defense no more, and it's all about the 3-point shot. And I think, if they were to eliminate something like that, it might make the game a little interesting, and they'd have to play defense.
Yeah, I think they implemented that rule when Kobe passed away that year or the year after maybe. But when Kobe passed away, they made it so now you have the 4 quarters. You start over every quarter, but your points are still tallied for
But
all
it's
3 quarters.
accumulated, yeah, each
And
each
then
quarter, yeah.
and then in the fourth quarter, whatever the top team has, they have to score 24, and that's the target goal. So if you're behind by 30, you got to score 54 points.
Right,
Um,
and that goes to show you that I haven't watched the game because I didn't know that they were doing that. I thought this was the first year that they had done that.
no,
And
So
going back to what you guys were saying about the dunk contest and the rivalries. I mean, this is going to date me a little bit, but I remember the first dunk contest that Dr. J won.
Artist Gilmore,
And
all of them.
yeah, and he just made all of them look silly because he went against a bunch of big guys. I want to say.
Well, no, I think it was Artist Gilmore. It was Dr. J. I want to say
Who's the guy that played on his team? Who played on the Sixers team with him? The big guy, Doctor, or they called him
Moses.
no, not Moses. It was before Moses. This was in the '70s. I want to say
Okay.
it was like '77. It was before Moses came, but there was he had a Chocolate Thunder. What was his name?
Nate
Oh,
Thurman.
Dawkins.
No, not Nate Thurman. He
Oh no,
played. They played together on Philadelphia.
It was
Dawkins.
Dawkins. I don't know his
Yeah,
first
Daryl
name.
Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins was in that. It was. You're right. Artist Gilmore was there. It was Dr. J. I want to say even the shooter from San Antonio.
George Gervin,
Uh,
Iceman. Wasn't
yeah,
he in it?
Iceman Gervin
No.
was in it too.
Let's see. So there was 8 people, I believe.
And so, even that was even that was exciting because we had never seen it before. But as it progressed, like you guys were saying, there were more There were more rivalries. There were, guys were going against, each other because they wanted to dominate and they want to be known as the best of what they were doing at that time. Like in the 3-point contest, that's kind of carried on since they started it. You've got guys that are looking to prove that they're the best shooters in the league. You don't have that anymore as far as that mentality like Kobe brought to the dunk contest. You know what? If you're going to step on this court with me, I'm going to walk all over you. I'm going to make you look stupid. And you don't
So
have that.
Sorry, Amos, this is just my last point. So the 5 competitors were Artis Gilmore, George Gervin, Larry Keenan, David
Larry Keenan, that's right. He went to school with Magic at Michigan State.
David Thompson, and Dr. J. But what were you
And
gonna
Dr.
say?
J.
What were you gonna say, Amos?
no, no, I was gonna say. So I mean, and you go back to the '90s, Alan. And for me, I remember the '90s being so fun. I was really young then. If you remember though, in the '90s, it was really ran by the East though. If you remember, the East had that
Oh
long.
yeah. Yeah, it was definitely run by the East. I think it's actually been dominated by the East overall since it started, to be honest
Well,
with
it
you.
was the West
Because I
for
mean,
like
look at
the
Larry
90s.
Nance, Dr. J,
Right.
Jordan,
But I want to say
Jordan,
that.
Bird.
But I want to
Dominique.
But that was the longest streak, though. I'm saying, and I think that probably affected. I could be wrong, but I think that probably affected the overall. I guess just the unbalance, But I think that was the longest streak, though. I just remember the East. What was it, like 10, 12 years? It was a long time.
It might have been.
It was like 8 to 12, something like that. Yeah.
It might have been, but I think that those guys were bringing it. They were bringing it until Kobe actually did it the first time.
Yeah,
But
I
then
mean,
now it's separated. Like you get all these people. Like you got the draft, so you got East and
Selection.
West players on different sides.
how do you?
Yeah.
For me, I've never been able to keep up with that. You can keep up with East, you can keep up with West. I can't keep up with who gets drafted.
Well, they
Yeah.
used to have like a little draft where they would do like a little 30-minute segment the day before or something. But then this year, I guess they did it like a playground, like Efren said, where it was like pickup style. Um, but yeah, back to what you guys were saying. Yeah, the East has dominated the All Star game, 37-29.
Well, and that's kind of what the All-Star game has become, though. The game is actually, it reminds me of the Rucker Park tournament.
Hey,
Those
Rucker
guys
Park
ain't,
tournament
those guys
is
ain't out there to
competitive,
play
though.
ball. They're out there to make people look silly and score as many points as they can,
But people play defense. There's ankle breakers. There's no ankle breaker in the All Star game because nobody's playing defense.
No, but
Yeah, but they don't really play much defense, though, KJ. I don't know if you really watched it. I don't know if you really watched any of that. They don't really play defense. It's more of a show.
guys, how about this? What if we turn the All-Star game, instead of an All-Star game, to that point into like a little 3-on-3 type of tournament? Okay, so if you had that,
one-on-ones.
see, one-on-ones would be dope. We'd love that. We would love that, but I don't know if players would love that. Now it's like you got.
I don't think they would go for it because they would be risking injury.
Yeah, risk of injury for sure, and you would get physical, and they would get so mad. They get so mad at the referees. They get so mad at the refs calling it. So for me, it's just like you do a 3-on-3 tournament. Now all of a sudden, players aren't playing consistent minutes. You're having plenty of breaks. 3-on-3, you can't hide in 3-on-3, okay? And now you have 2 other guys who are relying on you to make money at the end of the tournament. So I would like that. I think 2-on-2 would be cool too, but I think 2-on-2 would probably just be closer to 1-on-1, where it's a lot more physical. Where 3-on-3,
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. I think they should actually set it up more like the NHL does their All-Star game and break it into the divisions. You have each division, and then you play against the other divisions. And as you win, the top 2 divisions will go against each other in the final quarter, and whoever wins that is actually the champion or the winner of the All-Star game. That would actually be pretty cool.
No, I would love that. That would be great. So, I mean, yeah, I would love that basically. So, I think you could maybe get the players to be on board with that. I think the fans would love it. I would love it because again, 3-on-3, you're as close as it's mano a mano. You don't there's not as much help defense, and like we said before, you don't have a lot of bigs out there, so you have a lot of space guys. You have a lot of shooters out there. So
would you make it a half court game then?
Yeah, you'd be. Oh, for sure. 3-on-3 would be a half court game.
Okay. Yeah. So in the NHL they do 3-on-3 and it's a full ice. event.
I think it's just a little different in age. I think that would be
Yeah,
awkward.
you'd have to, or maybe even shorten the court, maybe
Yeah.
What do you think, Efren? What were you saying?
if you wanted to make them run.
I honestly, I think that would be a great thing. You guys, that's a great point that Amos made. I think it would make it a lot more fun, a lot more competitive. Or you could do 3-on-3 or if you do 2-on-2 tournament before, because you know how we have that the whole 4 days before. Just make it like a big thing about each team in the conference. Like you said, get your best
Yeah.
players from the conference, and hey, let's go 3-on-3. These are
You know,
the
and the thing about that is you could actually probably bring back some of the retired guys that are still able to play, and they could actually jump in, and represent too. You could have like a legends division or something like that.
True.